What childhood mystery did you only solve years later? Mrs. Sinclair moved in next door when I was 8 years old. For 15 years, every single night at exactly 11 p.m., I'd hear it through my bedroom wall. The sound of her basement door creaking open, followed by her slow footsteps descending those wooden stairs. Then silence. Complete silence for exactly 1 hour. At midnight, like clockwork, the footsteps would return, the door would close, and her house would go dark. My parents always brushed off my questions. She's probably doing laundry, Mom would say. But who does laundry at the exact same time every night for 15 years? Dad thought maybe she had a workshop down there. Some people need routines, he'd shrug. But I knew something was off. Mrs. Sinclair never had visitors. Her groceries were delivered. In all those years, I'd never seen anyone else enter that house. And whenever anyone mentioned basements in conversation, she'd go rigid, change the subject with a practiced smile that never reached her eyes. The mystery consumed my childhood imagination. My best friend Evan and I would dare each other to sneak into her yard, peek through those narrow basement windows, but they were painted black from the inside. Whatever happened down there, Mrs. Sinclair made sure no one could see. As I got older, the nightly ritual became background noise to my life. High school, college, my first job. Through it all, the 11 p.m. footsteps continued. I'd grown used to them, the way you grow used to a grandfather clock chiming, just part of the soundtrack of home. Then last Tuesday, everything changed. I was up late, working on a presentation, when I realized something was wrong. It was getting late, and I hadn't heard the return footsteps. Mrs. Sinclair never ever stayed past midnight. By 12:15, I was genuinely worried. I grabbed my phone, debating whether to call 911. What would I say? My elderly neighbor is still in her basement? They'd think I was insane. At 12:30, I couldn't take it anymore. I went outside, crept across the property line to her back door. It was unlocked. Something else that never happened. Mrs. Sinclair? I called into the dark kitchen. It's Jordan from next door. Are you okay? No answer. I found the basement door wide open. The wooden stairs stretched down into complete blackness. Mrs. Sinclair? I called again, flipping the light switch. Nothing. The bulb must have been dead. Using my phone's flashlight, I descended those stairs I'd wondered about for 15 years. Each step creaked under my weight. The air grew colder, mustier. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it echo in the silence. At the bottom, I swept my light across the space and froze. The entire basement was filled with them. Hundreds, no, thousands of music boxes. They covered every surface. Shelves from floor to ceiling, tables, even the floor itself. Delicate, ornate, simple, complex. Every kind imaginable. In the center of it all, Mrs. Sinclair sat motionless in an old rocking chair. Mrs. Sinclair, I rushed to her, checking for a pulse. She was unconscious, but breathing. I called 911, trying to explain the situation while keeping my voice steady. As I waited for the paramedics, my light caught something on the wall. Photographs. Dozens of them. All of the same young girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old. In every photo, she was holding a music box, smiling. At the hospital, Mrs. Sinclair finally told me everything. The young girl in those photographs was her daughter. The music box was her absolute favorite toy. She never went anywhere without it. They had moved to America to build a better life. Her daughter grew up to become a concert pianist. She was driving home from a performance one rainy night when a drunk driver hit her car. She passed away that night. She was 23. The music boxes, Mrs. Sinclair said, gripping my hand. I started collecting them because they reminded me of her. But then I couldn't stop. Every night at 11 p.m., that's when the police knocked on my door to tell me she was gone. I go down there and wind them all. Every single one. So the music doesn't stop. So she doesn't stop. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. Silly old woman, yes? No, I said, my own eyes burning. Not silly at all. Mrs. Sinclair recovered and returned home 3 days later. For 15 years, I had wondered what was really going on in that house, and it ended up being the one thing I never expected to find out.